close out?
So we walked.
It is Gary. Yeah.
We walked Alligator Trace west and north today. For the last 2 hours, main complaints is the roads in a state and the drainage. Some of these drains hasn't been cleaned for 20 years, and some of these roads hasn't been fixed for 25 years. Of course, we're looking forward to working with the authorities, working with the Tunapuna Regional Corporation as well as the Ministry of Works to get these things done. And we'll keep working until we can get it done and deal with all these issues that these residents have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Who is the gentleman there? Hello, sir. Can I get your name and let's say a few words?
You?
Yeah, Gary. This is Ganesh here, from Felicity.
Okay. I didn't realize it was you.
Yes.
All right, man.
Very
Thanks,
cool, man.
thanks.
So we with our MP walking and touching base with the constituents. So long time it had a perception that the MP, you don't see the MP, but this MP is walking the streets back again.
Well, we're changing that, and also we broadcasting it. And like he knows that the engineer is going to be there arriving Friday. He's going to be next week with you guys, Ken Dalchan, and we have some remedies to deal with the flood. I'm also recommending, we install some pumps. That's how the funding goes by the government, and we'll do everything we can.
Okay.
Thank you, Neil.
Come on.
All right.
Bye, Gary.
Thank you.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Marissa, you want to say anything?
Alan Marissa's in the back.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Marissa's way up.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's it for us.
Thank you very much. For
Well,
your help.
you would have seen the issues. They mainly road and drainage, and of course maintenance of some of the drains. For instance, there are areas that have proper box drains that are 22 inches deep, but they have been so severely silted, it looks like just about 6 inches. And plus they have stuff growing in it. So that's going to restrict water flow and cause real issues going down the line. So when Ken gets here, we are going to make a more comprehensive look at what's happening and see what kind of solutions we may be able to offer.
Yeah, one of the things I want to make sure, is that they don't, when they clean the silt, they don't dump it on the side of the road to go back into the drain.
Right,
And,
but that's what we saw on this road here just now.
Right.
But the truck for the corporation passes on certain days of the week. So they cleaned that yesterday. So it's still kind of wet. The truck will probably pass either Monday or Tuesday next week and pick that up before there's significant rainfall to wash it back into the drain. So yeah, I think Kamala is on top of that. The councillor.
Okay then, so we'll be in touch. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us.
So
and we'll talk to you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Gary.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Yellow's Code program on UNC USA. Somebody's mic is, someone check your mic. Somebody's mic is giving a feedback. So welcome to Yellow's Code program on UNC USA. So we had a very interesting day.
Are you there?
In a walkabout with Councillor Pagu and also
Dr. Raj, you can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I don't know if Gary fell out. Someone there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm hearing you.
I'm hearing three of you. Gary.
Yeah, I don't know if someone could hear me. Someone, you could hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, Ken.
Gary not there.
Yeah. Someone?
Yes.
So you guys hear me now?
I hear you now, Gary.
Yeah. So we had a very interesting day with Councillor Pagu and also MP Gosain and my good friend Ganesh, and Marissa and Rajan and all the people that was there on the walkabout. So I think we're making some progress. We are broadcasting what the issues are. We're giving the MP some coverage there, and we are addressing the issues hands-on. Again, and these guys are looking forward. Very excited to know when you reach there, they're ready to receive you. They're looking for a solution with these flood issues, and I mean they are really overwhelmed. You can see how people is overwhelmed with this situation. They're really overburdened with this, and we're looking to some kind of relief. There is some immediate things that we can do, and there's some long-term things that we can do. And you could break it down to us
Yeah.
in a better way. All right.
Um, Gary, the problems is it's a national problem. From Laventil to Ikakas, anywhere you go, you would hear a problem of drainage, flooding, garbage constriction, you know. But let's talk about what we saw today in the live stream with our MP for Chaguanas West, Dr. Neil Gosain, and his team, Ms. Pagu, who is the counselor, and Marissa and her team, who was able. Thank you guys very much for live streaming. I was able to take a little view now and then here, and it's the problems are typical, right? What you're seeing is that the main roads are kept, maintained to a certain extent, and then all the secondary roads or the back roads, if so to speak, are totally neglected, right? A worst case that we saw there was a major water course, earthen water course that's not concrete lined. And this is bounding a roadway that's starting to shift. Half of the road is just slipping away because there's no retaining wall or no major box drainage system there. Now, the box drain or the drain will act as a retaining structure for that road, right? And the entire road is starting to give way. So what you're going to have eventually is once you have those H20 or those big major trucks, right, passing up and down those roads, is going to continue to accelerate the slippage or the movement or the shifting, so to speak. And that'll be a major problem for these residents there with their little motor vehicles and stuff, because some of those vehicles are going to get hung up in the road, right? Now, as it starts to rain, it's going to exacerbate the problem. So that's one with as far as the road. Now with the drains, right? What we're seeing there and what I observed is there's no uniform, properly sized drainage system or drainage network there. One person, and I might want to quote, said that everybody's putting up their own money and their own funds and building their drain in front of their property and so forth. But it's not being sized properly. You have one guy building a 4x4 drain and then someone building a 2x3 drain, and it comes into a 2x2. And then behind somebody's home, we saw there where the earthen channel comes to a constriction where the guy actually built on the drainage reserve, right? And when you compound the garbage and the vegetation growing there and the lack of maintenance, those things are going to create some major constriction, right, of flow. And that's what's causing the flooding in that particular area, right? Now, in other areas, I mean, the place is relatively flat. And what you have is a lot of silt being built up in these drains. Yes, there's garbage also, but the silt would reduce the cross section. If I have a drain 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet, right, and I have 2 feet of silt in that drain, what happens there? It reduces the capacity of that drain. So all I have now is 2 by 4 by 2. This is why we desilt and we maintain the cross sections, because it's very, very important. But more so, what I want to talk about is I think we need to have some policy in place where the Minister of Local Government and the regional corporations, right, they come up with some kind of policy where anyone who wants to build a box drain outside of their boundary or boundary or any kind of drainage that connects to the larger network or the main network of drains, that has to be guided and consulted with the regional corporation or whoever has jurisdiction in that area, because it will remove the undersized, oversized, no size box drainage system where people are doing whatever they want, how they want it because of their budget and so forth. Right.
Hold on
So
a
I think
second
we have
there. Please welcome our long-awaited Kamla Pagu counselor for that area we was in today. And I want to count ourselves most fortunate. It is a second opportunity here with Kamla, long-awaited. So, Kamla, welcome to Yellow Sickle program. And here we have our civil engineer, who you will see soon, Mr. Ken Dalcha, with us. We also have Mr. Suman Singh, our technical analysis is there, and Dr. Maharaj, well, he's out in New York. And maybe sometime in the year you may see Dr. Maharaj, but definitely Ken Dalchan will be there in Trinidad tomorrow. So welcome, Kamala, to the program.
Thank you so
Welcome,
much for
welcome,
having me.
welcome, Kamala. How are you?
I'm fine. I might be looking a little bit greasy. I just got home, and I know if I don't come on, I may get some messages. So please excuse my look, but I was just on two side visits right after the walkabout with the MP, because that's what I do. I'm always on the ground. But thank you again for having me. So I'll just listen in.
So it's that's how a working lady looks, and you're still looking beautiful. I don't,
That's right. That's
right,
right.
right.
From
So
behind.
we are very interested in helping you down there. So go ahead, Ken.
Hi,
Give me
good
up.
night. Good night, Kamala. As I always say, Miss Pago.
Good
You
night.
know, what we saw there is typical, right? And I was just mentioning policy. I want to believe that uh, to really be consistent with the drainage network and not have some persons building drains of certain sizes, like someone might build a 4x4 drain in front of their house, whereas the guy down next door or two houses down builds a 2x2 drain because of his budget and so forth. So I might want to be initiating some policy or proposing some policy where there's some kind of structure or some kind of guidance from the regional corporation, right? Where if someone wants to build a drain that connects to the greater network in front of their home, that has to be guided by and approved by the regional corporation. This way, everyone along a street will have a 4x4 drain, right? Or whatever the size is based on the flow. And I think there will be some consistency. It will also improve the efficiency of the network, and it will prevent any kind of bottlenecks or constrictions. Because you see some earthen drains there, some people have developed their drains, and again, not everybody have the budget to do that, right? Some people have developed their drains, right, while others have just left it as an earthen drain. And the earthen drains, there's vegetation growing, there's silt, there's garbage, there's a lot of constriction and stuff. And I mean to say, this is a continuous process where we have to clean and maintain, just like how we desilt all the rivers and stuff. Now, as I was saying, if you have a 4x4, a 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet drain cross section, and you have 2 feet of silt in there, it reduces the carrying capacity of that drain, right? So again, we have to really put some structure in place. However, I just want to recap here a little. I saw a roadway where the road was actually shifting or slipping, right? And the reason for that is because there's a major earthen water course bounding that roadway. And once you have that earthen drain there, right, and you continuously having flow, and there's no retaining wall or retaining structure, the drain itself, the box drain itself, will act as a retaining structure to retain the road and prevent it from
Mhm.
moving laterally moving or shifting. Now, there's a major slip there where I think it was like a foot in difference in elevation from one lane to the next. Yeah, Miss Pabu, you can hear me?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's on
So
Rampant, right?
yeah, so once you have trucks, major, especially those H20 loading on those roads, the major
Oh,
trucks,
yes.
like the trucks dumping materials and stuff, right? It will continue to exacerbate that problem, you know. And if it starts to rain, we're going to see that whole place is going to become impassable at some point. So we probably have to get some kind of program where we could um, address that drain with a retaining wall or wall and paving, you know, just to save
But
that
Ken,
road.
one of the things we have to keep in mind, right? As hard as our counselor works here, and as much as she try, the corporation has been starved for funding and equipment and supplies for the longest under the PNM. So we have just taken government.
Yeah.
So we will make all the recommendation, but everything depends on resources to maintain what we're trying to accomplish there. Yes, we want those recommendations, but we also need the funding. And we're hoping to get as much as possible under this 5 year term. This year might be a little slower, but we're hoping that with all the economic flow and businesses, that would help us to pick up a little bit. And I really want to see the Borough Corporation getting the necessary funding and not being restrained. I mean, there was a lot of bias in the distribution too. But Kamala, you could give us a little more details on what's happening with your constituency there.
So good night to everyone. Um, in my corporation, which is the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation, prior to us being in government, we have faced the same challenges. Fortunately for us now, we would have the direct links to our ministers, and I was fortunate enough to have the Honorable Minister of Works, Ms. Julian John, visit. And that same watercourse that we are referring to is one of the watercourses that I took her to, and she took note of it. Her engineers and all of those persons, the technical team, they have visited, they would have taken into consideration all that is needed. So as Mr. Lalchan would have said, that these major watercourses, they do need the retaining wall. But in the interim, I have been lobbying through the corporation to see what we can do on our end. Well, we all know what's going on in our corporation. We do not really have that support. I have been starved since becoming a counselor, but that does not really deter me from doing what I have to do. I have engaged a lot of persons within my district to do like the self help, which a lot of them would have done already, and we got funding. So, with us being in government, I know that we will get resources. It may not come all at once, but we are taking it one day at a time. And I know from the inception of us being in government in April going forward till date, I would have seen so many things come on board to help the people that I serve. Prior to that, there was nothing. So I am keeping my fingers crossed, and I shouldn't say my fingers crossed. I know for sure that the people of Kelly Village Warrenville will eventually start to see some development. Now it's a lot of development that needs to happen within my district because most of my drains are earthen. And earlier today when I was on the live, I mentioned that, people they come and they do whatever they want and they build the drains in the wrong gradients, and then the water remains stagnant, and then the councillor gets blamed for it because he doesn't clean the drain on time, which is sometimes a little bit difficult for us too. So there are so many challenges that contributes to this. So for example, the teams are very much short. So for my district, I probably have about 3 teams with 3 to 5 persons. So they are so under resourced that we can't get the work done in a timely manner to push forward. So prior to we come into government, I would do the necessary that I can do with getting the community together to do cleanups and all of that. So I'm hopeful and I continue to stand with my prime minister because I know all of the decisions that she makes and the vision that she has for us. We will start to see some more infrastructural development within the district. I have some great MPs with us, very hardworking. We always collaborate. So whatever we do it hand in hand, and that's a really good partnership. And I always welcome that. I'm a really good team player, and I don't wait. I do what I have to do. So I would really welcome Mr. Lauchan. I know we will be getting a visit from you soon. To come in,
Dalchan.
Dalchan.
Yeah,
Dalchan, sorry, Mr.
that's right.
Dalchan. His only Tuesday during my council meeting, I had to stand in chamber and school the engineer to a point because he have not been attending to my reports, my requests to do simple things to serve bridges for constructing a illegal wall or even putting materials where it's not supposed to go or cutting across a road that they did not get approvals for. So I stand in favor and I fight. But at the end of the day, it goes on deaf ears because they don't really care about us. When resources come into the corporation, they send it to their districts. So I'm hoping that in 2027, yeah, 2027, that we can change that. And we are working hard. I know everybody is already on ground. we are working to ensure that Puno Regional Corporation returns to United National Congress. So development has to start, and I know it will. And I continue to do my part. And I look forward to all of the support that I get from you guys. And I know Mr. Marver is always there supporting me, and he will help me with some of the resources. So thank you so much for that.
Definitely, we button for you, and we want to make sure that you get the right recommendation. And not meant. You see, we don't want to see people who are comfortable with maintaining the status quo keep that. I know we're going to face some opposition because of the PNM people within the structure there, and those who benefit and from how things are currently. So we are here to offset the status quo. We have some improved solution, and we will make all the recommendation regardless if the government has the money at the time or not. We're making the recommendation because there's some how to say some immediate recommendation, and there's some long-term solution that Ken will explain better when he gets down there. I've been talking about the dams and water gates and things like that for the country. If you look at the screen here, this is more of a large scale size for the United States, but we want to make a smaller scale so we control the flow of the water coming down the Caroni River. We want to strengthen the embankment on both sides. We want the dredging, the cleaning, and the reinforcement of the bank. So these things will take a little time, but this kind of a structure will work as a multifaceted structure to benefit us in many ways. So there's a couple of things that I've been projecting. I mean, the water pumps and all these different things. We need some water pumps, larger scale in some areas. The water retention ponds, we will have various sizes in various areas, and we're also looking. I want Ken to scrutinize the area, which he will fly a drone and give us an idea where we can situate some larger size retention pond that can be a storage for water, and we have it for usage in dry season. I mean, we have seen so many times where the country floods and 10, 12 feet of water someplace, and then the water reservoir is dry right after that within a few days. So these are the kind of things we want to do.
Well, I know for sure that Caroni has a lot of land, and that's the major parts of flood. That area is like the major part of flooding in my district. So we could look at
Yeah,
Caroni.
yeah. Excuse Gary, you want to show that picture with the Candy River Basin and the 100-year storm? Yes. So, Miss Miss Pagu, you just mentioned Kelly Village, Warren. So I believe that Kelly Village, uh, is that somewhere like in the St. Helena area down there?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
just before that.
So that will be influenced by the 100-year storm there. If you look at the floodplain, right, and the flood elevation. Um, so yeah, those are some areas that are serious at elevated risk, and you have to implement some serious infrastructure there, right? What we're looking at on the screen here is a model of the 2018 flood, which sort of replicates or is close to a 100-year storm. So if you look at the main blue line there running across the screen, that is the Caroni River that's overwhelmed or has flooded over or has spilled its banks, right, onto the 100-year floodplain. To the extreme left is the Caroni Swamp, right, which acts like a huge sponge. And all those tributaries in the north there, they're in red, those are flowing from the higher elevations. So your area, Kelly Village, would fall in that high risk area. So definitely we'll have to talk about solutions and probably do some site visits. Now, if you want to elaborate a little more on the Kelly Village flooding, please feel free to give us some insight. What you've been
So,
experiencing over the years there.
so the 2018 flood was the most devastating one, definitely. I myself was impacted by that. This house that I live in was underwater. We lost everything. So I know firsthand what flooding is like. So
Question,
when
quick question: how many feet of water was at your house? Like
a little over 6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah,
6 feet
yeah.
water.
I lost everything.
6 feet. You could
Now,
literally
the
drown in
100-year
that.
storm, some places is going to exceed 6 feet. Some places might be 10 feet. Because I heard a guy from someone who was part of the rescue team there. They went in with a boat, and he said,
Yeah,
"Can some places in St. Helena or Madras down there was like about 10 feet of water,
correct.
right?" And when we look at the model and we try to reference that to see if it aligns, it is correct, right? That replicates the 100-year flood. So what you're looking at on the screen there is a HECRAS model that was developed, right? And it captures the 2018 flood and it depicts it as a 100-year storm. It classifies it as a 100-year storm. So these are storms that they can reoccur, or there's a probability of 1 in 100 of that storm, same storm, reoccurring at any given year. And with global warming and climate change, we have to brace ourselves. We have to really fortify these communities that are at risk, or most of them that are lying or bounding the Caribbean River, or are in the floodplain, because people have built up on the 100-year floodplain and they don't even know it, right? Some of them don't even know that they're in danger, right? When there's a 100-year flood. So we will have to do some groundwork in your area, right? And look at some of the major rivers, look at the hydraulic structures that would be in place to prevent backflow from the river and so forth.
Guys,
But
mute your mic if you're not speaking because again a feedback. So everyone mute the mic except you speaking.
yeah, again I'll echo there, Gary. Okay, good. So it is a serious problem, and we have to embrace innovative designs that have been proven tested in bamboo number 3 under the UNC government in 2013 and 2014. I implemented 2 of my industrial designs there to solve a major problem. And if you look at that map to the top left corner, you will see that dark spot there. That's Valsine South, bamboo number 2, bamboo number 3, and bamboo number 1. And those dark areas, in the event of a low frequency storm or 100-year storm, those places will probably experience 6+ feet of water, right? Closer to 10 feet of water. And this is why we have to act and we have to prioritize these low-lying areas that are of high risk, even your area also. So I would definitely work with you, right, to walk and to look at these hydraulic structures that are in place to prevent backflow, right, from the Caribbean River. Because again, the water will want to expand and spread through that entire 100-year floodplain. And if people are living in a 100-year floodplain, they either have to get out, evacuate, or we have to put something in place to retard or to manage that water. Now we can't store it. We cannot store 100-year flood, right? You have to only convey that. That's the design philosophy. You detain the 25-year storm, and you hope that your network of drains and conveyance can convey the 100-year storm. And that's the design philosophy and approach.
I heard like we so at one situation. I think in 2018 we got a month of rain in one day. Basically, what I was told, according to the former Minister of Works. But the thing about it, Ken, is our number one problem is we fail to maintain the basics. So that is why this water became bigger than and we should have been dealing with because the County River was neglected by the
The
previous
mountain river,
government, right?
the mountain river.
All the rivers.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying to you is, I strongly believe that if we start controlling this thing from upstream and we
correct.
create and we install the necessary floodgates and we put the we additional retention pond. I'm not talking like a 6 feet retention pond. That could be in a community, but outside the community, you need larger scale retention funds.
Correct. But Gary, I'm going to come up with a holistic approach with it, right? And we're going to attenuate that flood wave. There's something called a flood wave, and it peaks at around mid basin, around the Kelly village, St. Helena area down there, El
Mhm.
Carming and so forth, right? Where these tributaries, these major rivers converge into the Caroni, are those confluence points. Now, we also have a high tide. The Caroni River is also tidally influenced.
Mhm.
So when you have a flood wave, right, and you have a high tide occurring at the same time, that is going to actually worsen the situation. That's a worst case scenario. That is
And that's
when the
yeah.
banks will overtop, right? And we have to have real time data to warn people. We have to have a warning system. And we have to have all of these people along the Caroni River who are living there in the 100-year floodplain. They have to have some kind of warning system, right? That either they evacuate or they move to higher ground. Because we're dealing with monster storms here. These storms will, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you're in 2 feet of water and you slip and fall and hit your head, you could drown and die, right? So we have to put some structure, and we have to, again, I want to come back to Marissa and her team. We need to train people within the community to respond, when it comes to emergency response. I believe every community should have a little rescue boat or something, especially along the Caroni River. In those low-lying areas, or within the 100-year floodplain, those communities should be equipped with the necessary resources, such as a small boat, a watercraft to do a rescue. People should learn to, or be advised to build on stilts, build up, right? Because most of those flat structures will be submerged. The ground floor, you would probably lose every single thing inside your home. Because we're talking about 6+ feet of water, right? You either go on your roof and sit on your roof and wait for someone to rescue you, or if you could get a warning signal that, hey, we are experiencing on a unusually high amount of rain, right, in this Caroni Basin, and we are urging citizens along the 100-year floodplain, which we could demark at some point, right, to please move to higher ground. If you're in a flat or you're in a single story flat, right, secure your belongings and move to higher ground.
I mean, we
So,
basically have maybe 2 months for the most right now. This is March already, mid March.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
I mean, last we have seen the rain picked up in May. So we really don't have much time, and I'm not sure. I know our government was moving drastically, but I'm not sure how much we got done. If we got done enough within the Caroni River, as much as cleaning has been done. So we're going to see a little pressure on that because we haven't been in government long enough to get enough done for what we're looking to get done.
yeah,
But we do want to move quickly and put whatever resources we can in place with the limited amount of funding. But like I said, these are the things I'm looking forward to so that we get it in place where we could help control the flow of water, strengthening the embankment of the of the Caroni River. Is that we need to build up that we need to work with that and try as we pull the silt out and we clean the river. We need to kind of prevent the way we store the silt that we take out of the river in that it doesn't run right back in the first rainfall we get. And these are things that we are concerned about, and how and even within the local streets, how quickly does the silt get picked up? These are things, and that depends again on resources.
yeah.
So, Kamla, if anybody ignoring you down there when you call for help, you know who to call, right?
Yeah,
So,
please look.
one
At the end of
one
the
year
day,
they was giving Seema a little hard time, and I kind of get on board there, and they find her back over she quick.
so I have
and
to say, our Minister of Local Government, she have been working in my district. They have been sending the resources that I need to clean these rivers, the water courses that needs to be desilted. Because last November, when we had that a week or so of rain, I was spared because of the amount of work that we would have put out. I would have posted these things on my page with the amount of work we were doing so the people would be aware of it. And it did spare me, and I didn't have to worry too much, although I'm always very on the edge when there's flooding. So the work is continuing. I have works programmed already before the rainy season to get out of the way, like the major water courses that's going to help. But what I have realized too, the types of drainage systems that we have in some communities are very much outdated. because of the amount of development within the community. So it doesn't have the capacity to push the water out timely. So we still have slipper drains in a community with more than 80 homes. That can work.
No,
So
no.
we would find the water on the road. So it will be like a flash flooding, but people tend to get all scared. So they will call you down, oh, we are flooding, we are flooding. But we have to understand that it's the outdated drainage system that we have. But to move out of that is very costly. But I guess we will eventually get it right.
That's what we need. That's what we need. They have some portable industrial pumps that we can purchase. In comparison to these, we have some ones that are on like on a trolley. That you could pull behind a pickup truck that you can
Mhm.
relocate. So the large size pumps is what's going to help you to kind of start to pull that water before it starts to back up, because you really cannot control that flow of water with
No,
the current structure that's there. I mean, eventually we will work on, making some clearance so the water to move a little quicker. But definitely, we need those pumps as quick as we can get it, if possible. To
but
help you.
there are some places in the Kelly Village area when it's flooding, you can't even walk there. It's like a lake. So it's difficult for people to get out. And we have stubborn people still. You would give them the warning. You will go for them to leave their homes and they refuse to. I remember in 2023, the MP for Caranese and myself, we had to go in and rescue people because they just did not want to leave their homes. And by that time, water was already over 5 feet high, and they still refused to leave the homes. So we need to be a little bit more responsible as a community. We need to understand that we have to follow in the right paths and know exactly what is good for the community and what is not good for the community. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. So even if you walk into a community and you say, well, you're not supposed to build this drain here, well, we want more water to run. But if they seek the guidance, we will. But we really need to educate our population a little bit more, and we really need to work on the outdated infrastructure. And it can help because a lot of my communities have been built up now. It's so developed that, like I said before, the drainage system does not have the capacity to push the water out as we would want it to. So that is something I would want to discuss with Mr. Dalchan as to how we can educate those persons and what we can do in times of flooding, because my area is a prone area. I have been working with like NGOs to come in and educate, but sometimes I feel like it fall on deaf ears because you will tell them no, and we will have a flood in a month time, and they will not respond to you. You will inform them to leave, evacuate. We have the shelters; they would not go to it. So apart from us building up our communities and making sure the infrastructure is right to eliminate the amount of flooding, we also have to educate them as to why we need to leave our homes and how important it is too.
Well, definitely, that's why we dragged in Marissa into this thing with the educating part. Definitely, that's all part of the process. Ken, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, you see, anyone living in that 100-year floodplain, they are at risk. They are at elevated risk, right? Especially for persons, old persons with health problems, with mobility challenges, persons in wheelchairs who are not mobile, right? Who need assistance. It's very, very difficult to evacuate those persons. And I think we need to fine tune us and put a structure in place, an emergency response group, and a structure, right, where they identify all of those persons, those vulnerable, persons, so that they could go in there and say, "Hey, did you guys already evacuate? You need to evacuate now. The person in a wheelchair, the bedridden person who's on dialysis or something to that effect, right?" Now, people who can walk out and pick up a bag or something, and walk out, that's no problem. But those who cannot walk, are the ones who will require resources to actually get them out. And if they're living in a 100-year floodplain and that 100-year storm was to hit again, and it could hit at any time, the probability of 1 in 100 of any given year, right? What you see on the screen there, they will be in a lot of problems. Some of them could drown because we're dealing with 6+ feet of water, right? And Miss Pagu mentioned she's in Kelly Village. So I would definitely want to team up with her to walk that community, to meet people, to assess the current infrastructure, and see what's needed to make it more climate resilient, right? And then Marissa could come in also and try to see how they could inspire that community to try to develop their own response team, and we can start to build that network. So we're much more prepared for a major disaster.
Suma, do you want to join here for 2 seconds?
Yes,
Suma?
I'm listening. I'm listening, Ken. I listen, Gary, as well.
Okay.
And
Definitely.
I know I'm
But
concurring what Ken is saying.
the risk is out there. It's not going to go away anytime soon.
Correct.
And global warming is not slowing down or going to
Going
stop.
away.
Right,
That
but
is
it's
not-
exactly the
These
global warming is giving us a larger amount of rainfall in the period. Whether for
correct,
instance, if you're getting
Yes.
1 and 2 inches in a half an hour, now you're getting 6 inches of rain. Because
correct.
so
Yes.
this is what global warming is. It's picking up more water and dropping it on you.
On a shorter space of time.
A lot of the ice caps are
Exactly.
melting. There's
Yeah.
more water in the oceans. The ocean temperatures are getting warmer and warmer. And when
And
these
that's
systems,
what's causing the water, a larger amount of water to be picked up. If you notice, someplace like 2-3 miles of the water move out from the shore where you used to swim, you can walk there because there was a withdrawal of the water. That's global warming. All that water is coming inland someplace.
correct.
Mhm.
So also, Gary, as the ocean temperature starts to increase or get warmer and warmer, right, around us,
Yes.
and these storm systems were to pass over these warm, relatively unusually warm water,
They build
it's
up
going to
straight.
pick up a lot of moisture. And that is what's called driving this rainfall intensity, right? We saw a hurricane, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, Melissa. And I believe that hurricane, correct me if I'm wrong, it jumped from a category 1 to category 5 in a space
Yes.
of 30 hours.
Yeah. Basically, one
In
day.
30 hours, 30 or 24 hours, it moved from 1 to 5. So we are going to have to brace ourselves. We're going to have to prepare. And because there's no room to react to those storms. You either get caught in the path and you face the brunt of it, or you prepare your community, your response team, you make sure you implement the right designs, right, that are viable, that's going to protect and safeguard the community. You have the pumps, right, ready to go. We have ample drainage and storage, and you can manage that localized flooding within and prevent the riverine. Right, so there's two things that we have to work on here: the localized and the riverine. So there's a lot of work to do, a lot of assessments, a lot of groundwork, and I look forward to working with Ms. Pagu in her area because she is her community, Kelly Village, is at risk, is in the 100-year floodplain, and
Very
we
high
have to
risk. Very high risk. Most of the places that
it's
flood the
very high
most.
risk, very high risk, and it's anywhere within that blue shaded area, that deep blue shaded area, right there, anywhere within that deep blue shaded area, right along the Caribbean River, is at risk, elevated risk. Bamboo, Valsane South, Bamboo number 2, Bamboo number 1, way elevated risk. They are the top of the food chain there when it comes to risk. They are going to be seen at least 6 to 10 feet of water if the bank was to fail.
Dr.
So
Maharaj, you want to jump in a little bit? I'm not hearing you. Check your mic.
I am so sorry about that, but I had to take a phone call.
That's all right. That's
that's the
clearly
problem. That's the
understood.
problem.
And
That's the
I
problem.
just, I just want
We're
to be,
very we're
uh-huh.
very versatile here. We're very versatile here. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on, and I really have to run. I have to get something done for the morning. So I will jump back
Sure,
on another day.
sure. Yeah, you'll get my number from Marissa. Call me if there's anything that you want to discuss regarding engineering stuff, or you want us to take a look at it. Not a problem. I'm in the ground there. We'll definitely
I
come and
have a
see
number.
you.
I'll send it to you too.
Yeah, we'll
Okay, one.
definitely link up. And again, we're here to serve the people to get it done right. And you are in a high risk area. want you to keep that in mind. And those people in your community, especially Kelly Village, they're in the 100-year floodplain and they are at elevated risk.
Definitely. So I really appreciate all of you all and what you will be doing for me in my district. And I want to wish you all the best. And I will definitely jump back on as soon as I have some time.
Right. Even if you have to come in for 5 minutes, Kamla, we definitely appreciate this. To come in for 5 minutes is okay. You don't have to stay a length of time. Right. So thank you very much for making that time, and it was a pleasure. Seeing you on the field today. Definitely we'll be in touch, and our civil engineer will be with you pretty soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a
Have
good
a good
night.
night.
All right.
Take care.
Good night.
Thanks.
Right. Have a good one.
So Gary, yeah, it's it's a lot of typical problems, right? Anywhere we go with garbage, with poor drainage, silt, vegetation growing in the drain, no drains at all. It's all earthen line, um, uh, the roads being impacted by um, rainfall, poor drainage, right? Once there's a pothole that fills up with water, it has to penetrate into the subsurface or the subgrade and weaken
Structure.
it. You have heavy trucks moving up and down with loads, and it destroys the entire roadway. So yeah, so we need to really build better infrastructure. We need to maintain it. And you make a good point there. The last 10 years, a lot of stuff was neglected, right? And
Yes.
we're now picking it up. We're now picking up the pieces. So we're going to continue to pick up the pieces and move forward with it and put it together and move forward. You know. But Gary, I sent a picture there. I just want to highlight, a few minutes on it. There's a lady with her kids in front of the bank, in front of Republic Bank in Chaguanas there. And we've seen a lot of this now, nowadays with people with kids who are homeless.
Yep.
And this is where our social services have to really, try to reach out to these people, to these displaced persons, especially with kids, because I mean, look, the economy went through a lot over the last 10 years. A lot of people unemployed. You know, the government failed to grow the economy, right? It was more or less shrinking,
Not only
and
failed to grow the economy, they grossly neglected the people, they mistreated the people,
correct,
they disrupted all the good things that Mrs. Bisesa, our prime minister, had put in place. You know,
Especially
they
if
told the
you
people wean themselves off the government.
especially if you live
yes,
in
correct,
beyond the
and the government is there to also work for the people. And the last 10 years, we saw the exact opposite. You know,
yep.
So what we inherited here, right, are the remnants of what was left, what was neglected over the last 10 years with the crime, with the infrastructure, as we saw today in that video, in that live stream, right? And Mr. the MP, Dr. Neil Gosine mentioned that so many places the drains haven't the roads weren't repaired for the last 25 years, and the drains weren't cleaned for over 20 years. You know, so yeah, we have to pick up the pieces and we have to address it as we go along. You know, there's other social issues that we have to tackle and we have to address also when it comes to social services, especially with
So,
kids
so
being
that was the point I
homeless.
wanted. That was the point I wanted to get
Go
at
ahead,
the
Mr.
Ken.
Raj, go
When
ahead.
yeah, that was the point I wanted.
So you want to make a few?
The minister, the MP for the area this afternoon or whatever time it was, talked about the 10 and 25 and 10,
Good
20
night,
and
Dr.
25
Maraj.
years when
Yeah.
things problem. So these things that's what I wanted to tell this the counselor that these things didn't happen overnight, and if you can get it fixed overnight is great, but it wouldn't happen. So they must be able to differentiate between that which can be done in a short space of time, like opening up a drain or cleaning here, cleaning there, or retaining wall. A small retaining wall can be done in a few months, but a big wall that is going to take a year or 2 years to build, that's a long-term project. You cannot ask this government to do so many things in a short space of time. That 5 year, we know that 5 years even is not enough because we need another 5 and another 5. I mean, how many 5 we might need? And I wanted to get her that when they're thinking this way, they must think about that which will fix quickly, like a drain, like a culvert, like do clearance and the bridges and those things can be repaired, box drain and those things. Okay. So that could be done. Long-term projects, because she said something important. She says when they were when people are constructing, they have a way of not having enough drainage because they pushed it, like apparently they pushed the problem somewhere else because they were short-sighted or didn't care, or town and country planning, or whatever the company is that oversees these things. They were not considering all of these factors, and therefore they were short-sighted. And this is Trinidad problem. You could look. Ken is talking about a 100-year storm that could happen. I mean, they should build the houses as though 100 year will happen next year. So there are many buildings that went up that should not have been in a flood zone, but they're already there. When bamboo number three, I could tell you about number three. When they began, the people began squatting in the area. Then they began putting up houses, and they were hoping that the government will help them to regularize. And I think it was under the UNC government when they took over, they speeded up and they get regularization on bamboo number three. So in the same way, all across the country, they were putting up houses in flood zone. They didn't care. They would know what a house. They put it up no matter. And then, yeah, there's global warming and global this and global storm and global thing. But there's also things that people were not doing because they were living just today for today and the short-sightedness. And this is the role of the town and country, whatever planning they have, that they must make it sure that the people live. All these drains that they're talking about shouldn't have the ventilation, the elevation rather. She talk about the doesn't have the elevation, so the rain gets stuck. So the water can't go anywhere. A little bit of rain and the water can't go anywhere because the drains are not elevated so they can run off. This is their structural problem. These are a civil engineering problem, as Ken would know. So my point is that you cannot get this thing fixed as quickly, although you could raise it up. And she says another thing. We do not have the resources. I think she was saying the manpower, the resources. They have. It's supposed, resources supposed to be scarce. Resources not supposed, can not Sumant, resources supposed to be scarce. Money supposed to be hard to come by. If money becomes by easily, you have crazy inflation. Your money worth nothing. So these resources, every Trinidadian person, I don't have enough resources. Quite right. Resources supposed to be scarce. It is, and that is why they hire you. You could take the scarce resources and get the maximum out of it. Because if scarces were plentiful, we have no use. A lot of people we don't use for them. Because resources are plentiful, we don't care about anybody or any. We don't have to manage anything. So we have anything we want, pick it off the shelf. That is not how it works. So that mindset, I was listening to her for a while, and I could realize that she's saying these things, but there's nothing wrong with her. That's fine. That's fine. But it's for us to tell her, maybe client, and you all can do it, and Ken will do that, of course. That to tell them this is how we're going to do this. Short term, think about short term, long term. In 5 years, and resources will always be scarce, no matter what happens, no matter how much money you get, it will still be scarce because.
Doc, but you have to understand
This is
something.
a problem that fester for 40 years and 30 and 60 years. You cannot get it done in 6 years.
No, but what I'm saying to you,
You're trying, but
our
you're trying.
councillors was deliberately spite. They was deliberately spite and denied
Yeah,
resources. Getting a
yeah,
backhoe, they will
yeah,
even listen. If you have a cooperation with UNC and PNM, how to say councillors and PNM, somewhat have the little edge where they have either the chairman or something. They're shifting those
yeah,
resources towards where
yeah.
their PNM councillors and starving and spiting our
Right.
UNC councillors. That's what was going on.
And yeah, in a case like that, it's even worse because
Right?
she
So
really.
I'm telling you, it's not a
Yeah,
matter of this lack of funding, but the denial of the funding, denial of the
yeah,
equipment that's there. When you need a backhoe, they spike you for the backhoe. They take it, they give
yeah,
more giving it to the PNM
yeah,
counselor, and these are the kind of difficulty and stress our counselors went through. So
yeah.
it was based on people in the community who kind of pull
Mm,
together and even lend a truck or a
mm,
backhoe or something and help out the counselors. This is what took place. So now that we're in
yeah,
government, we want to make sure that we're taking full advantage
mm,
of things that we have two very powerful women there, which is Khadija Amin and Jolene John. And I mean, Khadija knows this whole issue in the back of her hand. She could close her eye and do this job. She just needs the resources to do it.
And you see, when people in your constituency, wherever she's, whatever they call it, local government, wherever area she is, and when people see her working very, very hard, they really like to also chip in. Because when people see the councillors trying very hard, they saying, "Girl, you're trying so hard. I could help you with something." So and they volunteer because they see you trying really, really hard. So she could get things done, even though she's in a corporation that she's in a minority, and therefore she could get things done by because she seems to be wanting to get it done, and she's working on the street just like Geraldine John and many of those are the minister of local government. They all, you could see they working hard. And when you see they working hard, I feel to work myself because I want to work now. So the people will see this thing and should get things done, even though resources are scarce. And let me just this last point, and I think I said this many times, but I don't know if you all ever picked up on what Suraj Rambachan did in St. Patrick County. I think maybe someone might know. Should if he didn't know, he should have heard about what he did. What he take that. And he did with limited resources because he mobilized the contractors and he mobilized the working gangs and the government gave them the material. And St. Patrick was the best, most structurally sound or attractive of all the county councils. And he did that on his own by using his, again, working hard and getting it done. The same with this girl with her limited resources, she could very well outshine all of those other areas because she know how to get it done. And that is my point about scarcity is good because that is why we employ you. Because things are scarce, you have to stretch it a mile and a half. When the PNM can't get half mile, you go get a mile and a half with it because they're so inefficient. Let me make this last point about this PNM people, which some of you may not know. You know what the problem with the PNM really has been, and the reason why we want to know about them is because they will come back with these things a little later on. They had tried, but they just cannot succeed. They had tried they tried to diversify, they didn't succeed. They tried with the big mega farm in Shagaramas somewhere. I remember going down some cornfield in Shagaramas. They tried down there. The big, they had all the big boys. They bring all the big boys, only 1%, so to speak, and they give them blocks and 200 or 100 acres of land in Shagaramas. You ever hear Shagaramas? I mean, it's nice fertile soil, but that could ever feed the whole nation long there. It couldn't. You already looking for houses and people moving in Mocha and they'll be building resorts. You can't have agriculture along there. It's not. They don't have roads around in Chagaramas. One stupid little old road that the Yankee built who were back on 50 or 100 years ago. So they have not, in their own area, they haven't developed anything. What about this woman with the constituency, which is not in government? She's a minority in that area. So, they tried and they failed. And because they fail, they doesn't deserve to go back because we tried them a lot. And that's why I told you all the other day that there's a spent force. The problem with them is they cannot get nothing done. Whether they have money or whether they don't have money, it just don't know how. They are incapable. And I was telling you, now the roles are correct. When you have the UNC in opposition, the roles are reversed. It shouldn't be that way. It should be how it is now. If the PNM should last that long. And that's my final point for tonight. So you guys take over. I will listen. Go ahead.
Suman, jump in there for a little bit.
Yes,
I could continue,
Continue. Me and stopping you.
Okay, so let me just go back to the
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me continue with the money. Yeah, let me continue with the money side of this now.
all right.
So the HFS that they played in Parliament recently, that was existing. This girl had the Auditor General had it up on the website for a long, long time. I know 2 months or how much it may be. They now talk. The papers now bringing that out. Yeah, they never put a penny inside of there, and the money that they withdraw, that 410 million that they withdraw sometime late last year or sometime in last year, I don't know if it was under the UNC, or most likely maybe under the PNM, but I wouldn't be surprised if the UNC said they did it, but I couldn't get the date, go back to the guy. I might even look, I might get what did. It really happened. So I was telling you all the principal amount or the capital that they put in, they could live off the proceeds, meaning if they had to spend the proceeds. Well, really, they were spending the proceeds because they never put a damn penny in the capital. They have never bought new capital, in new shares in that company for, I mean, how long? I don't. I got to go back to look at what they had put in some stuff. So all that they're getting is they're reinvesting the proceeds. So then the capital is building because they're not withdrawing all the proceeds that they're making. And making because if they put this thing to 2007 and you put some funds in 2007, I go like my account. I put something in the stock market 2007. By now that has to go 3 and 4 times over because it's
But
supposed to be
Doc, let me just say
400%.
one thing here and you'll continue, right? The
Yeah.
PNM, Mama Guy is the poor man, but they're not for the poor man. They're not vesting in the poor man. So they set him up to fail and what they're creating is structure for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see, they are useless and not even deserve I to talk about them. But it was only because I talk about them because we don't want to think that they could, we don't want them to get away with any nonsense they try over there. So some because people forget and don't remember. But if you go back and read, you got to remember what they got, the amount of money passed through their hand, and what they did with show for it, not only show for it, except failures. Everything
So,
they put their hand
but
on, they
when you're in
fail.
a fight, and you get your opponent down, what we have to do? Keep him down. Don't let him get up,
No,
right?
that's what I'm telling this counselor tonight. That they want to get a lot of stuff on, but she must be there. But separate your capital expenditures from your recurrent expenditures. The short-term investments from the long-term and the medium-term investment. You got to separate it because you know what? We must have long-term projects come 2030 in the works that even stop it. The country has too much loss. You cannot take that chance and change government around this time because it is too dangerous for the entire population. So we have to continue what we have. It's continuity we need. Don't break the chain. Let the chain continue and it must run for a long, long time to come. In fact, I would say like 70 years because the PNM had 70, 60 years. So somebody must have 60 years and then we go compare. Then we could say, okay, they had 60 and this other group had 60, and therefore we compare the UNC with the PNM, and you go to see the difference. Because these people only there 11 months now, and the whole country, they could see at least things are happening. Let me just say this. I was saying the last thing, but I want to say important thing. I want to tell you all.
Gosh, man, nobody's stopping you, man. Run with it, now,
There
man.
is a debate. The debate is going on in Trinidad and Tobago between Plan A and Plan B. There might be a third plan, but this is the thing. They think that we should be against the American, or at least in the middle, because we've given up our independence. That's a debate that will have to continue. They also think that CARICOM, that we are for getting CARICOM because we want to leave CARICOM behind and we want to get rid of that's because we fall in trouble. That's a debate you need to have. There's another debate about whether we should have reopen the refinery or not refinery. That's a debate we'll have to continue. What level should we go at in sugarcane or no sugarcane? That's a debate should continue. Should we build and I see Ken having all this nice, beautiful infrastructure development, but that should continue. How long it will take? However long it takes. But we need to correct all those ills that this counselor laid out tonight, and plus what Ken is saying, and Gary, all of you saying the same thing. But first of all, we don't have the money. The money will come. It will take some time, but it will come. And always remember that with less money, the UNC could get more done than the PNM could have. Get them all the money they want, and they still won't get nothing done because they cannot manage. They have reached to an end where they are incompetent to the point where they cannot function to get anything done. They could only hire the boys to do it, and the boys then half 3/4 will be pilfered, and the next quarter might go towards a project and might be pilfered by the end before you get to who you're supposed to get to. And you're right, Gary, because those very same people who keep on voting them for year after year are being kept down because you have to keep them poor. Otherwise, they won't vote for you. Anytime those PNM diehards get liberated, they will dump the PNM forever. They will get, and then by degrees they get. You see that turnout happened in last year with this number of people that came onto the UNC. I mean, think about how you could go up in lab until now, and you could have a UNC meeting. You couldn't do that 10 years ago. You could go in a Rima now, and you could have a meeting. And you could pull a crowd. You couldn't do that 10 years ago, 20 years ago. When even when Pandit never come in a Rima. It's when Robinson came, then they went to Arima. And so we never had the luxury of having to vote for UNC. I couldn't, I mean, you vote for UNC, but we know we're opposition anyway because that's a PNM area. And so that audacity of this PNM to come and open about and talk about this and talk about you see, they're trying to stick whatever, they throw things against the wall and see what will stick in the population about the UNC. But they're trying every little thing. They're trying their best. But there is still a majority of people in Trinidad who want the best for the country because they would live there. They're determined to be Trinidadian forever and ever. And that is where we know that this hard work, like this girl tonight, you could see they committed. Looking at the walkabout with the minister today, they committed. How much ministers that walk about in PNM, and yet still they go back and vote PNM. You see, that's the thing. How much PNM people that see the minister, they only come down at the election, ask them, they will tell the PNM, they're ashamed to tell you. But ask those PNM people how many times in the 5 years they see the government come, the minister walk down with them. How many times?
Let me draw an
Only one
example for
election.
you. Let me draw an example for you. In Lavantil, the sewage was coming up in the kitchen. Flood water, garbage. Look, I had Rodney recently Sunday night on this program here, right? They kept the people in a garbage dump, an unhealthy condition, and they still went back and vote PNM because of what? Rodney would have been one of the best candidates for Lavantil West there, and getting things done. Rodney is putting pressure on the current MP, because let me tell you something. Rodney called me, and Sunday night, Monday, they went and burned the garbage. And the rest of the week, they're cutting the grass and they're picking up the garbage and they're doing everything. And he come here and complain on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So these people living in a dump, an unhealthy condition, and still they yet voting PNM. Why?
Yeah.
You understand that? I will get rid of you. Me and you will get rid of them in a minute.
Yeah.
But they kept voting PNM even this last election. All the wickedness that PNM did, all the money Rowley did, every soul the suffering he caused, they still went and vote PNM.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in all the misery that they're going through, they say, you know what, we don't care because this is we know if parents vote for them, we'll vote for them no matter what. Some of them that 28% will continue, Gary. That 28-30%, hopefully, is not more than 1/3 of the country will be so stupid. The other 66%, 67%, they're smarter than that. They have the guys in the middle and then the guys who are on the other side who want the best for the country. Let me tell you something. The UNC people are the first one to hate back their own party. Look at what they did. You see, so you can't compare the UNC and the PNM. The UNC is more reasonable than the PNM people because the UNC ready to kick out back the minister who not performing or the MP who not performing, and they tell you, look, I go down the beat, I'm not voting for you. I mean, some of the PNM did it, but look how when they did it, when water was under the bridge. When the water under the bridge going through already, then they say, wait a minute, let me catch this water. The water already gone, sir. So they tried this last minute to see whether, and really, we're not sure how much of them really stayed home and how much of them crossed over and voted for the UNC, but we give them the benefit of that some of them would have or must have. So I'm raising this thing because all this nice work you want to do, and I believe in work more than anything else than politics and all of that. And I believe in business more than anything else. But I'm raising this thing because all this hard work we'll do, and then somebody come and kick down the bucket of milk that we gave. The cow that gave a bucket of milk and then turn around, kick down the bucket.
That happened the last time. But so
Yes.
we have to keep ourselves in government. But what I want to make sure is we get a certain amount of infrastructure absolutely necessary in this infrastructure work done in this first 5 years before the election. I want to see we get that. I know something will be a little costly, but I'm talking a lot of the short-term term things that we could get done immediately. So I want to see my local government minister gets what she needs. I want to see our councillor get what they need. I don't want to see our government get in the miss anything, get blindsided in any way. I want to see as much funding and resources go to the local government and the Ministry of Works, but especially the local government, because these are the councillors that are really dealing with the issues on the ground. I don't want to see them begging and hoping for a backhoe. You understand? Simple things like that. We need those drainage. We need those extra retention ponds. In the community. I mean, on the larger scale, will go further out, but some, just like how we go out here in New Jersey or Florida, you always see those. You go into a community development. There's an apartment complex, and you see these several retention ponds around the complex. On a small scale, large scale, And so we want to make sure there's always these retention ponds to pull the water away because we're not dealing with normal rainfall. That's why I keep telling them and Khadija and all of them as I make the drain deeper, make it wider, and we need with the heavy amount of rainfall now, we definitely need these pumps. But go ahead, gentlemen.
Yes, so just this afternoon, I was looking at the Trinidad news on the my man ran on you all on the UNC platform here. And I saw they interviewing some people up in Sandy Grande, stating that they don't have water. She doesn't have water because she's some young, nice looking, good looking girls, whatever. But she has to walk. She said she had to walk to the pipe to bring to tow the water because there's a little distance. So apparently, and she didn't they didn't have the water for long. It just began happening. And you see, things has happened like a few days time. But my point is that for some of these television stations are going to find a problem some corner. You can find somebody to have some grouse, but they want to air that grouse. That's what I
Yeah,
went. It's not
because
that
they want to act like it's UNC created this problem, not by
yeah,
the
yeah,
people they were
yeah. To
supporting,
find
the
them when
media.
we look all day,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
find some trace in the back of Sandy Grande, way down on Ohio in Sandy Grande, and find a street and find some people complaining. And they complain like hell. They want the water, they sump the water, and they go like a couple of days, they miss the water, and they complain how they took the water and they head from where to where. I'm sure they never. I know Gary, them have the boy was there. The guys working. This guy's working hard. I sure something happened. I mean, you think that happened overnight? A line, you could have a line break somewhere, and you had to cut off the water, and for 2 days it does take a little longer to get things done in Trinidad. So you had to wait a few days. But you could see the papers, the television are looking for some kind of negative way. Could find one. Why they go down and Barrackport, they might find one. Man, they won't go so far. No, they go into Grande. They want to find some people to complain over it, and they make big news. Man, that does happen all the time. Breaking away, because when you don't have for things, same thing, and maybe like some parts of the country never have water in the 5-10 years. That's a big. Why not go there and look for those people? 10 years here. Not look for somebody who overnight didn't have water. You will find out the electricity went up last night because a tree fall across the road. So you will bring news. That is news. That is news you're looking for. You went to Sandy Grande to tell them they have water in some pipe, some trace wherever that is. I sure those ministers and them trying their best to get 24/7 water everywhere. And I'm sure it's a big improvement to what it was from last year to this year. Since the PUNC took over.
Drastic improvement. And Doc, if I could only get the volunteers like how I got these people on the ground to take out a phone and link up with us and cover what our government. But we're not even getting those volunteers from our UNC youth people at all. So what I'm saying to you is if we could have gotten that, we'd have been showing a lot of the work that's been done. I mean, I've seen Michelle doing some real drastic work up in the area where that whole area where the landslip went down and knock out everything. She's doing a lot of work out there together with Ministry of Works. There's a lot of things happening. Khadija is full throttle ahead. I mean, always working,
Yeah.
and
And she
always
also
available. If I reach out to her, she's always available too.
yeah.
Our
But
Minister of Social Government, Vandana Mohit, always
yes,
working, always working.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're all working, and people. I will tell you, we have a sizable portion of Trinidad smart enough to know that the ANC is working, and therefore 5 years deserves another 5, and maybe even
And
another 5 and
and
another
our
one.
Prime Minister always working.
Yes, yes.
Within 24 hours of a
Mm-hmm.
visit to the United States,
Mm-hmm.
large investors want to do business with Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
Eager to come now, eager to talk to us.
Chevron called within 24 hours.
What? Say that again. What was that? What was that?
Chevron.
Chevron is right there. Chevron wants to talk. This was within
Oh,
a
I see.
24 hour
Within
period.
24 hours of visit. This is not TNT want to talk to Chevron, you know. This is Chevron want to talk to TNT.
Yeah.
You see what's happening here, Doc?
Yeah.
When
No,
they
they're
see,
they're
well,
looking for profit, man. With profit,
well,
they want profit. Of course,
well,
they want to invest. They're looking
well,
for oil because
Dr. Maraj,
yes,
Dr.
sir.
Maraj, when you see the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago standing with the most powerful, influential man on the planet and shaking hands and warmly received, right? And chit-chatting and stuff, you know, anybody would want to call to do business and so forth because it shows that bond and that relationship, right?
Yeah.
Even before, even during the U.S. Maduro conflict, let's call it a conflict,
Yeah.
right? She took a
Mhm.
position there. She drew the line up front. She wasn't
Yeah.
wishy-washy, and she didn't even listen to CARICOM when she was getting a lot of licks, right?
Yep.
She said no, right? Even for Guyana, she mentioned, say, hey, Venezuela, you cannot touch or invade Guyana, right? We respect their sovereignty, and we are going to stand with them and defend it. She drew the line right there, and she told
Yeah.
Maduro that, right? And here she is now with the most powerful man on the planet. So when the
Yeah.
rest of the world, Fortune 500 companies see that, she put Trinidad and Tobago in front of the world there, right?
Yeah.
So she put Trinidad and Tobago back on the map, on the global map,
Yeah.
right? We are rolling with the most powerful country on the planet.
Right.
And we are in that energy hub in the Caribbean. Trinidad,
Yes.
Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those four countries, they're in the energy hub right there in Latin America
Mhm.
and Caribbean.
So
So again,
don't think. Yeah, but I want those people in Trinidad that those who find this is a wrong thing she's doing. They have a small population in Trinidad saying she's a sellout and she's a this and she's a that.
yes,
Trump
yes,
know Trump knows where Trinidad is. He had been there. He had a beauty pageant in the outside in the wharf in Port
correct.
of Spain some years gone by. He
Yes.
know Trinidad, you know. So he when he's shaking hand with this girl and he's hugging her or telling her things or hand or fist bumping her. Or giving her the pen rather in this case. She he is aware who she is and what country she represents. He knows. They know
Right,
about Trinidad and Tobago. He
right.
knows.
But the last 10 years, nobody know who Trinidad. All they know Trinidad
No,
for
no,
is
no,
with the
no. Of course they don't know.
highest crime
Oh.
in the Caribbean.
But and you know the good thing about it is, and I don't know how they orchestrated it that way, but the great Trinidad hip hop girl Minnie Minaj, Maharaj, she's Maharaj really. She she find herself down there too.
Correct,
So you
correct.
couldn't have a nice better combination for Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, she endorsed the prime minister, right?
Yes.
And and I find that was really nice. But look
Yeah.
at this picture here. When Chevron
Yeah.
saw that, they called within 24 hours. They want to talk to us, right? And we
Yeah.
saw Dr.
You
Monilao
you
said he
you
wants to
don't
talk.
think Chevron people was down there when she went there too?
Yeah.
Yes, they
And
were in the
Dr.
discussions,
Monilao
right?
said we might even have Chevron take over the refinery and run it.
And there's another competitor, by the way, from the
Yeah. So
US is
look,
interested in the
you
refinery.
remember prior to all of this happening, when before Maduro was ousted and captured, we took that role and we said, hey, I'm very, very optimistic moving forward in a post Maduro Venezuela. It's going to stabilize, it's going to restore
Mhm.
democracy there, right? And I think we will benefit a lot. And and now we're seeing it. We're seeing it.
Yeah. Oh no, if things could get on stream with Venezuela, because a lot of oil is in that border between Trinidad and Venezuela, and
Not
we
a
could tap
lot.
into that.
It's the
Let me
largest
just
reserve in the world.
let me tell you why I'm so kind of more what I said 2 weeks back and I was saying now. The this oil business, like it wouldn't settle, like we see it jump up to 100 and you jump back down and jump up today again it jumped up again. I didn't look at the
Mhm.
last thing, see where it settled at. But this is not going to end because Iran is not giving up in terms of what they want to do, because really I don't think America really understand these people well. Because they get into there and they bomb you when they walk in and think everything gonna be happy. These people have long-term memory. This is not going to settle like this. This happened in 1979 before. This is not going to end so overnight. This is so what. So the quicker we go, the point is that quicker we get a refinery going up, and no doubt Chevron and these companies are seeing that, because the quicker, because that refinery could be matter, because it started in 8 months, and the Americans could run in 6 weeks. They could get a refinery running in I would say 3 months. They could get it running. Because all they had, because they have everything, they already had to ship it across. They only had to bring it down and do a refinery change that, bring it back kind of brand new almost. But they have to have plenty concession. You have to get them free tax of this and free and that and free and promise and guarantee that the foreign exchange will remain as in the guarantee. You know how to guarantee the foreign exchange, because you have to have some guarantees that the profit will be there, will be able to, and the government will do, because we are not going to go no, our country will not go communist to start with, so therefore the capital will rule anyway. So they know that Trinidad is a safe place to invest, except they worry about the crime a little bit. But the Americans don't care about the crime, because they do what they have to do, get there, but they care about the money, they care about the crime. They come across there to do what they do and they go about their business. They have nothing to integrate into society. Your crime, you see, they once they're making the profit, they will do. And not only American, the whole business people think. Big profit is there. I mean, they go to Africa, they have all kind of wars around them, they extract the mineral and ship it out without ship it, and you do your thing. Let them fellas fight in the corner and whatever, Arima and wherever they want to fight on. I want to sell my oil. My oil goes away to I'll have market for my oil anyway. So
once there's political stability, that's a big step forward. And
yes,
we saw that
of
in
course,
Venezuela, on
of
top of
course,
the largest oil reserve on the planet. And
yes,
we are right next there in that mix of things.
right.
So the stability being restored,
That's right.
right? It
That's
is
right.
very, very important to make it
Yes,
attractive. Now
that's
we
right.
have companies who were once there and were
Mm.
ousted out under Chavez and whatnot when they nationalized everything.
And
And they,
that's the essential point I'm getting at, Ken. And excellent. I'm
yeah,
glad
go
you
ahead. No, go ahead.
dropped
Go
that
ahead.
one in, because that was so important. Because you see, they will set up the headquarters here instead of in Caracas, and they will
Correct.
operate from here and do the refining here. So they have the risk in Caracas. Listen, Caracas is very risky still, because you don't know what number will play in some years to come, because you don't right now the bubbling in Caracas is in Venezuela is still there. The matter is not settled yet. The matter is still it's like you have the volcano, but it's you know best in a volcano that is bubbling under the soil, under the earth, but it ain't erupting yet. That is a volcano. Venezuela is still a hidden volcano. So so if we could set up shop here in New York, we already have the army here. We already had this. I'm sorry, now I'm here in Port-au-Prince and Point up here. And where else again? They could even maybe look at Point 14 if there's something you could do down there. But they could set up back the refinery, refine the oil, and then they already have markets in the West Indies and they have markets in America to sell the refined products. I mean, America's selling a lot, but a lot of countries in the world need what we have, the oil, because America might have a lot more. But America is an exporter, but more is better. So right now, what you see right now, Japan is shutting down because they can't get what they need coming through the Strait of what's the name? Hormuz. What's the name of the strait by that they block it where the ships can't pass now and the
Almost.
Hormuz.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, Hormuz, whoever it is, something the
So
name. I
yeah.
swear it.
And
Yeah, because the ship Japan is shutting down some of the processing plant because they can't get some material that is supposed to come off in that stream coming up, and the ships can't pass. So therefore they can't get what, so they had to shut down the plants.
And the
This happening
Chinese
all
as
over.
well. And the
That is
Chinese
why
as
India
well.
went.
So-
That is why India went and asked Trump, Kali, because India always know how to play with him as well. They're playing well. They had asked him to get permission not permission, but to have a waiver to get oil back from Russia. And Trump say yes, because once they go and tell him boss, once he say yeah, I agree with you, man, let's go. We had to play him. Because the important thing about Trump is that he's in charge of America. He's bigger than America. Listen, the guy is big because he had no opposition. So since you have no opposition, you could do nearly anything you want. So why not stoop for a little while, find favors with him, and later on we'll see what happens. But right now we need the favors from him, and he could just say, "Yes, man, let it happen." He's like an all-powerful boss. You just have to get okay with him, and everything sealed. The Congress can't hold you back anyway, because you're going to primary them. Nobody in Congress will stand up. Look, they tell him to make the change. They're going to. So if you stick with him now, and you kind of like what this lady is doing right over here, she's correct. All them, you know what happened with the West Indies people? They're jealous of this. They should have been the one. They should all of that's what they're saying, you know. She alone mustn't get the handshake. We all should have gotten the handshake. If we all can't get the handshake, then she should stay home and stay she corner somewhere in Superior. That is the jealousy in them people, and because they have their own thing, because them boys is out of government. The boys that they bribe, the boys that they pay this money every year to hold to the K Street fellas and them that they have. They're waiting for them to come back. They better be careful they mightn't come back at all. Just like the PNM wouldn't come back, they won't come back either. So
Well, the
so
Street
the
boys,
price. So this the last thing, man. I want to hear. We didn't hear tonight, Ken. So man, so we'll hear you a little bit just now.
right.
But so that this oil business, they better get that damn thing refinery running. If ever they need their refineries now, not because they want to diversify, you know, but because they want to deal with this gas oil problem. We need a lot of gas in the country, and we need a gas in the Caribbean, and we could supply them once you get the machinery, once you get it up and running. And we had the petroleum, and we have the dry gas, the gas, the natural gas. We could get this time going and we could go back to where we were. But the only thing I would caution Cement is my thing is about getting the going back to where we were, meaning having some sufficient, not sufficient, having foreign exchange to do what you want to do is the only reason why we want the foreign exchange, because we have things to do that are important to diversify our economy and be less dependent on oil. That's my last point. Good. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well,
No, point well taken. Let me see if
yes,
Samad is on. Samad?
yes.
You want to fall asleep on?
No, I listened to
Yeah.
when I listened.
One
when it
night I caught him sleeping though.
when
One
it
one
when it
night I caught someone sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you probably stepped
no,
away
no,
from the
I'm
thing there. But you
listening.
know, Dr. Maharaj, you made a good point. You're absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
Suman, we're not
Right?
hearing you. Suman, if you're trying to talk, we're not hearing you. He's awake. He's not,
Now let me hear Ken as well. Ken, go ahead, Ken. Sorry.
You
Go
know,
ahead,
look,
Ken.
at the end of the day, we took the position, right? And we said, yeah, we're going to support the government. She made the right choice. And
Are you hearing?
we weren't wishy-washy. You know, we weren't like, maybe or not. No, we said, yes, that is the right choice she's making, right? We've started making from the get-go right choices, right? That puts the people interest first. Now we're in a position that we could revive the economy, right? We're seeing we're attracting a lot of foreign investment, big Fortune 500 companies who are in the region there, right? We have Chevron, who might probably, who knows, might take over the refinery and revive it and start to refine oil there. We would work out a nice partnership there, right? Some kind of agreement with some limited government oversight, you know. But yeah, we were very optimistic from the get-go. But we needed that stability, that political stability, right? In Venezuela, all of this to fall into place. Because you can't have someone here who's threatening Guyana to annex two-thirds of that Essequibo region there, right?
Right.
And now wants to also threaten us because we had a minister in Venezuela there, the minister of defense or something, making threats to us.
Yes.
So all of that is gone now, right? Thanks to Trump. And
Yeah.
thanks to our prime minister for supporting the
Of course.
US and the efforts to oust
Mhm.
Maduro.
Mhm.
So I'm very, very optimistic moving forward, but we need to get that refinery up and running. And I think it's going to be a win-win situation. This next couple of years, moving into the end of this term, is very, very important. We need time is of the essence. We need to optimize. We can't waste time. There's so much work. And the reason why I mention that is because 10 years of neglect That's compounded work there. That's additional work that you have to clean up and fix and restore and assess and evaluate. Right? We're still battling with crime. And you mentioned, Dr. Maraj, no one wants to come in a crime-riddled place where they could
Right.
get shoot or robbed. Or. For example, you made a good point.
Mhm.
Most of these Fortune 500 companies doing business in Guyana might want to set up their
Mm.
headquarters in Trinidad
Right.
because of the risk, right?
Mm.
So, I think we're in a very, very good position, thanks to the Prime Minister, and we need to continue to build on that.
Let me just say two quick things, and
Go
then
ahead,
I'll
go
let
ahead.
someone jump in. Um, I want to make a statement, but I don't want to reply tonight. Our next prime, I hope that our prime minister, she might be considering whether she'll go up the next 5 years or not. She would, that's a calling. Once she goes 100%. But let's say she doesn't. I think the the minister, again, I'm not looking for a debate. I just making observation and leaving it there. I think a next person who they should consider because of her allegiance for so long is the current Minister of Works and Transport. I think that's a portfolio that might be a successor, and that's providing, of course, as long as the Honorable Prime Minister doesn't want to go back a second time. I'm just saying that and leaving it there. But here's the point I want to make about for both of you, for all three of you rather. So in your best guesstimate, I know you might meet the minister of no, not minister, the guy was named Ramnarayan. You might meet the Ramnarayan person sometime to come. If given what is happening these days, could anybody want to venture and say how soon they could see the refinery running, if at all it is going to run, how soon it will be?
All right, can I jump in here?
Go ahead,
Yes,
Dr.
yes,
Sumad.
Yeah. Well, I pondered about the same question for the past few days. In fact,
right.
I drew up a list of questions we need to ask Mr. Ramnarayan. But unfortunately, we were not able to get onto him, Ken, but we did leave a callback message and so on. Anyway, you see, there are different models of uh, a refinery operation. One is that you could be a sole trader. The government can decide, hey, I am going to bring back the refinery. Me meaning the government. Secondly, we can go into a joint venture. A joint venture with, let's say, the government. Because of the current financial crunch the government is, government can say, hey, you know what, let me find someone where I can put in a 20% equity and let that person or company come in with 80%, let that company run the refinery, but guarantee me for my 20%, guarantee me that I have energy security. That's a biggie, because nobody wants to relinquish control of something like a refinery. That's an important, in Trinidad terms, that is the most important asset which we have, which was shut down. And very few people complain. That is the most significant asset of this country, a refinery, right? The third option is like what they want to give with the oil field workers trade union. Now, I think that is a pack of bullshit, to be honest with you, because they have shown that they have a lot of legal things on their head right now. They don't have money, They want to have a refinery like the old refinery with 8,000 people on board, most of it friends and family. Modern refineries run with 150 people. Modern refineries run with 150 people. Not this 8,000 people, that's outdated. And they will hold the government by the string and say, look, you know what, we can't manage it again. You guys need to pump in more money and run down the whole damn thing. So what model are we going to choose? Each one has disadvantage and each one has the advantage. The only way we can milk this thing is to get this refinery up and running within a year. Within a year.
Within a year?
Within a year. As it
Hmm.
is now, my time frame I see is 2.5 to 3 years.
Oh no,
But
that's
This,
too long. That's too
Suman, what
long.
if Chevron? What
That
if
time
Chevron
is going
comes
to
in?
cut.
No, that's too
Chevron could
long.
probably cut that in half.
it depends
Is
at
it?
my staying can on the model which Trinidad and Tobago is going to accept. And the best model is that the government has to have an equity stake and bring in someone who's going to run the damn thing like with a management contract at the fore where government do not get involved with it in the operations. In
Correct.
that case, that's the way you can get in within a year. Any
So we
other
look at
method,
so we're looking
any
at
other,
least
The 3 years was the original estimated time, but things got sped up because of the drastic interest in investment that is helping us to move forward. So there's multiple players in this thing that's going to help us move this thing more quickly than we expected.
yeah, but that's only one
so
side. I the investments, and the other side,
No,
Gary,
it's not investment alone. They have some technical expertise.
that's what I'm going to tell you. This whole due diligence process, the engineering side of it to but let me say to measure up and see how good this equipment is will take us a good from the engineering side alone will take us better part of 2 years. If we're going to do this the
So, man,
roundabout way.
there's some big players involved in this thing. We will get the better part
Come
of
on, Gary, you have to understand, my friend. The big players, yes, they are big players. They are very big players who can come tomorrow. What
Yeah,
they'll
but
do,
they are bringing the technical expertise in and not just money. Nobody's investing in money just like that.
nobody is going to invest unless you get what's called a terms of reference for the refinery. That has not been done as yet. No study has been done on it as
So,
yet.
man, you're missing the point. There
Oh no,
are
Gary.
people that is involved that is bringing the technical expertise together with the investment. They're not investing in money just like that.
Yes, but they will bring it to what? Are you saying that want to be a sole trader? No. Well, then who is going to guarantee Trinidad energy security? Government
Listen to me.
has to keep
Don't go
government.
down that road right now because there is a lot of things that you don't know about right now. So let's hold up on that part of the conversation.
But I was just answering Doc's question, Gary. I was
No,
just
I know. I
answering Doc's
understand you're
question.
giving your interpretation of things, but what I'm telling you is,
No,
there,
I'm
there,
saying
until we get more information, you can't say that.
that from the way they do contracts, international refinery contracts, whether they be it a joint
That is
venture,
based on previous. We don't know what we're dealing with at this point. So until you get more information, I would say, we can't make that statement.
but this
Just
is a
so let me just, Cement, let me just say one thing. I thought that I'm in an equity consideration that Guyana had an interest also to get in. No, yes, no.
they're just expert. But these things have to be worked out, Doc.
No,
These
the
things
Guyanese, didn't the Guyanese want to have an
they,
interest in Point of View as well? Wanted to put up some capital?
they wanted to put up some capital, yes,
Yes.
but that's meaning what? This is going to be
It,
a
it means
number.
that okay, let me take it a little further. It means that if let's say the shop the sharing, like the equity capital, they could ask the foreign company to come in maybe like 40% and or one third, and Trinidad government one third, and then Guyanese government one third. In that way, the foreign government wouldn't have controlling interests, and therefore your market can be secured in that way. So that I think, yeah, but they already want the West Indian market because we already buy refined product from America. That's our big foreign exchange anyway. So that will be now transferred back to locally. So they already have a guaranteed market in Trinidad and even the West Indies
And the
to buy
Caribbean,
oil from
yes,
Trinidad.
correct. That is it.
So,
But
so
you see,
that alone is a market. That's the guarantee that they will get the oil. They get some of the products sell right nearby, and the rest will wherever they want to sell it. But they wouldn't have they would none of them will have controlling interest.
you see, this is the point. Let me give an example, Doc. This week,
Yeah.
meaning this week gone, India pumped $300 billion. Listen to what I'm saying. $300 billion into a refinery in southern Texas, in a place called Brownsville, southern Texas, and they're going to start up in the second quarter of this year.
That's the Ambanis and them.
No, that's Reliance.
Yeah, but look who is behind the money.
Reliance is in that's what I'm saying. They're going to have 100% ownership on
Reliance is India, not so?
biggest company in India. The
Really,
biggest,
right. That's Indian, right,
Reliance.
right.
You have
Yeah.
Reliance, you have Ambani, you have
But
the
but but but
Adani,
look,
you
but
have Adani.
India is moving. India is not just moving money. India has the technological expertise.
So they can come and set up this refinery in Trinidad within 1 year, Gary. They'll just
Right.
scrap this whole refinery and come with a new plant. And
So
they will
so
go on.
so what was I saying? Was I saying anything different?
Yes, but then what is Trinidad share? What guarantee? These are the terms that have to be worked out. We want an equity stake on this because we want to get some profits out of this. We don't want Abani to come and just take everything and go with everything. No. We want energy security for us and the Caribbean. That's what Trump said. Trinidad and Guyana has to play a role to make sure that the Caribbean and by extension the US as well, there's energy security for the region. You have to read what he is saying. And so bringing a sole trader like Reliance, like what they go into Texas, right? $300 billion US starting next quarter. Do we want that model in Trinidad? Something fully owned by a foreign partner? We don't have a say. So you see, we have to
understand this.
determine what model we want for development.
Our government is not operating ignorantly. All right, our government is getting strong advice. Our prime minister is getting strong advice. She is not relying on just certain people. She's getting expert international advice. So I mean, I wouldn't jump to conclusion what's happening.
I'm not jumping to conclusion. I'm basing it on the facts which we saw.
But you can't, but you can't do it based on the facts that previously with PNM and all these kind of things. Remember,
No, we're not
things
doing
that
that.
happened.
We're not doing that. I gave 3 scenarios, and now we have to choose the best of those scenarios.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is you could make a recommendation, but what I'm saying to you, do not underestimate what's happening because there's a lot of things happening that we don't know about.
Correct. But I was just answering what Doc was asking. He was asking a question, and I said, Doc, we have 3 scenarios. We have to choose the best scenario. And I give the reason why I will choose my scenario. You may have another scenario, Doc may have another scenario, but the private PPP scenario is called a private public sector partnership. Is the best scenario for us. Why? I'll give you the reasons why. The reason number 1 is that it's going to ensure energy security. The second reason, we're going to throughout all this labor intensive operation, which the auto is trying to get their hands on, because modern refineries, I keep on saying it, they do not run it more than 150 people. So you get around that labor issues, and thirdly, you get around the sole trader issue, as what Reliance has done with Texas. So we want to have
but I'm sure that we're going to find a way to factor in the OWTU, and we were able to also capitalize on
so that's the point I want to make with you, because I understand what
we're going to have an integrated process. We can't go all technological and cut off the OWTU and dump them. We can't do that.
We can't do that. Yes, and that's the point I
Okay?
want to make with you. But here's the thing. Here's what I think could happen also, because I know they will have to do some kind of trade off with the OWTU because they're not going to get it.
Everything will have to
The
be
boys will be very
gradual.
angry.
Everything will have to
But
be gradual. Remember,
but
we are a
but Gary,
government.
don't forget when you bring the refinery, you also have contractors working in the refinery doing a lot of different things. There are a lot of downstream and even some upstream that will need workers. So that the
Yeah, but
UOWTU,
we ain't going
even
so
though
far
refinery cannot
technological
hire,
that we're going to kick so many people out of our labor. We are not going in
right?
that direction. We will
So so
take
the
things in a
so
gradual
so
stage.
so we could satisfy the union with those downstream industries that will come up, and them members that has to benefit from it. So
We
I
have an
understand
obligation. We
what
have an
Samantha is saying
obligation.
that but we want to make a profit. The company want to make a profit for sure, but also there's a lot of side developments downstream and upstream that will happen when they start back the refinery. So from what you all are saying, you're almost certain this refinery will start up back, right?
Definitely, most definitely, we are getting the
And the
investment.
question is when. Okay, tell me. The question is when.
So, Suman,
Doc is saying that the refinery is to set up as soon as possible to milk
Yes,
it.
so
within a year, by the end of the year.
the first estimate said 3 years, right? And then when after Dr. Munilan engaged certain people outside there, he said things will be moving faster than the
Right.
expected 3 year period. So,
Okay.
all right.
Right. So it has to be quick because you see what happened. I
And
hope they
then,
have a
but listen
plan
to me.
B.
Also, now, with the Venezuela situation working in the direction, and now Iran situation in the Middle East, all these things are putting up more pressure on the deadline for we to move forward, and which
Now
is
you're
giving us the
talking.
necessary support.
Now
So, I
you're
mean,
saying
things can
something.
speed up.
Now you're saying something, Gary, and that is true. This is what is driving the pressure because of the what is happening
But
in
not,
Venezuela and
but
Iran.
not only pressure. Someone
But
understand something.
no,
We're getting the necessary financial, technological, all the technical things that we would need. Everything is falling into place so quickly. We just have to manage it right now.
but that is coming with a cost, Gary. That is coming with a cost. It coming with ownership.
Obviously, that's the nature of business. It's a cost.
These companies who are planning to invest coming with ownership issues, and the government needs
Exactly.
to play a role.
Exactly.
How much
Exactly.
of the government?
Nobody gonna put their
How much
money there just
role?
like that.
How much role is the government going to play? What
But
sort
we
of
all have right.
these things have to be worked out, is what I'm saying. Unless these things are worked out, you're not going to get anybody to come here and put in their money when they don't know
so you
what are
don't think
they.
our prime minister understand that?
I'm not thinking what the prime or anybody understands it. I'm just making my point on
Yeah.
when is the
Yeah,
start.
we understand. I understand
So,
what you're
so what
saying.
I'm saying to you, Suman, is the fact that what you do is you analyze what you're seeing, and just like how we just do, you make your recommendation because you're only basing it on what you're seeing.
No,
But
I'm not making my recommendation, guy. I'm making a recommendation what the doc, what I'm responding to doc, what he's asking, and I share his point that we need to get this done as fast as possible because of what is happening globally.
no,
We
I
have to
don't
make
disagree with
this.
that. But what I'm saying to you, you need some information that may not be public, so that you may be able to get and cannot discuss in the public domain at this point, so to make a better analysis of what's taking place.
No, no,
No, we don't want to know.
I don't
We
want
just
to know that.
discussing. We don't know really.
We
We
don't
really
know
don't
what
know.
that's going to be.
But
I'm just
so
not
here's what is going through my mind. Now that is why I ask you all this question because no, I hope the UNC and the thinkers and the advisors behind they are also figuring out. Let us say there's a 5% chance that this refinery would not restart. Something could happen and they wouldn't restart. That they have a plan B.
There is
And
not even a 5% chance of this thing. This thing is dead on.
it
All
has
right.
to,
So there's
yeah,
not
yeah. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But in business, you cannot think this way. There should never be 100% behind nothing,
the
no
only
matter what you do.
chances that prevented this refinery is PNM stupidity and incompetence, Doc. This thing has, there's potential there, and there's big opportunity, and the opportunities even has expanded drastically within the few days. So I mean, this is an all go. There
Yeah,
is
because
not
I'm
even a
saying I'm,
slight, there's
because
even not even a millimeter of a chance that this thing won't succeed because the demand is high,
yes,
drastically high.
because I'm saying this because the PNM had tried, so as I said tonight, they tried so many things to diversify
So
the
they were
economy and they were
too
all
damn
failures.
incompetent and stupid and arrogant, and nobody wanted to do business with them. You see people gravitating to the boss lady.
So
They're
Trinidad will
chasing.
have to have, they have to have in the event things don't work out, they have to have a plan B. That's all I'm saying. So I'm sure they're
Doc,
doing that.
And a plan
Modi
C
run
and a
down to
plan D
Trinidad
now.
because of Kamla. All right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Modi run down to Trinidad because of Kamla. All right? People are gravitating towards this government because of Kamla and the formation of this government. All right? We have Donald Trump, right? Who opened the door wide open and invited to the White House. So what do you think is happening here?
So, Doc, answering your question sanely is that we need to
Yeah.
have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D.
Yes. You need to
If
have
something
plans. You have to have
plan,
what
if
if
plan
you
A
have
does
multiple
not work
scenario
out,
planning. Mhm.
if plan A does not work out, in other words, if we can't get it with the oil field workers, we move on to our next plan. If we can't get onto that plan, we get onto a part PPP plan. If we can't get on a PPP, we go into a sole trader plan. And like that. So you have to weigh the advantages and disadvantages of each. Remember, you have to understand government planning. If you don't understand how government plans, then you're in trouble. Because I can tell you, I mean, with all honesty, UNC said they have a plan for the refinery. UNC said they have a plan for the sugarcane industry, right? It's
Yeah.
almost a year gone, Doc. You
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
form
Yeah.
your own opinion. I'm not making no opinion.
No.
I'm
No.
not, blanketing anyone or trying to blame anyone.
No.
But I'm just telling
Yeah.
you these things, planning
No.
from
No. It didn't.
government side takes a long time. Decisions have to be made quickly in this rounds. Quickly means quickly, right? If you
Yeah.
want to milk this thing for all it's worth, well, when the price of oil is so high, it should be done ASAP. How do you do something ASAP? This, to me, I mentioned that we should scrap the entire refinery, sell it off, and let someone come and set up a new one. We can get that running within a year. But we have to have terms and conditions of that, right?
So man, this is the opportune time for them to grab this thing within, to let it happen within a short space of time, because
Very short space of time.
because because
Short,
your
yeah,
buyers who the end product cannot wait, because we're having problem, and this problem, like I was saying tonight, this will continue for some years.
it will, and I would like to see we get on stream as fast as possible. But that's just my personal opinion. But within a
Yeah,
year, I would like to see this refinery up and running.
yeah.
I,
I
in
would
my
think
heart,
by the end of the year, but then maybe a little longer, right?
I don't see it like that because knowing what is involved in a
Yeah,
refinery,
yeah, I know. Mm.
you have to
Because you
be.
see, the only reason I'm saying that is because they were really doing upkeep, because they were servicing even though it was down, they're spending money servicing all
But
along. So
they
I
only
thought,
did that for a year. They only did that for a year, doctor. It's been 7 years. They
oh
have not
shit,
done
I thought they're still
anything.
doing it. I thought
No,
they're doing it every day. Oh,
first,
no.
first they were servicing the pipes internal to the refinery. Then
Yeah.
they
Oh shit.
clean that
I
out
thought they're
and
doing it every day. No,
and they
that's
pump
not good.
water into it. They pump water into it. Think
Yeah.
that will solve the problem. Now
Yeah.
oil
Yeah.
and water, you know what happens. Leave
Not
it at
good.
that.
I thought they're really maintaining it.
No, they start to teeth out the pipes and so on.
Mm.
So
So that's what I was
there,
saying. Why? Because when they had the meeting last time, remember what I said? Like when they said they had put up this committee, I said, what the hell? This should be done within 6 months. What, it was so long, but 6 months they put some kind of 14 months or how many months they give them to come up with some kind of plan. Because you said they had a plan. Said we already have a plan how to get it going. So I thought they
they
have it
have
ready day one
they
by
have
3 months
a
after
plan.
it's going. Because that's what they promised.
They have a
So
plan, right? They promised that, right? Oh, okay.
yeah.
Now they have a plan. I'm not saying they don't have a plan, but
Yeah.
you know what the plan says? The plan says the refinery opening is technically possible. What does that mean? You interpret that. It's technically possible.
We're gonna send a man in the moon technically possible next month,
All
next
right.
year.
That
We're gonna
means
put a man. We're gonna put a man in the moon next
it
year.
means anything can happen within 3 years.
Technically.
Yeah, technically within 3 years, and they give a time frame, eh? They give a time frame. I'm
All
not.
right,
Technically
listen to
means
me. Listen to me.
technically means an abstract, in your dreams.
This
That is
technically
what it is.
possible.
It's an abstract. That is correct. It's
This
abstract.
technically possible. This technically possible
You're
has
right.
increased because of the level of involvement that we have gotten internationally. That's given us a little more push on getting this job done. All right. So it's not solely on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Right. We have foreign investors and foreign technical people that's going to be involved with this thing.
So I hope, because I think they're evaluating. There'll be several, maybe there'll be 3 or 4 people trying to tender to make proposal, and I guess that's what the
Well,
minister is looking at. That
if you know,
they
if
have
you
the
know
team of
about
fellows.
if you know about refineries, doc, there's something called pre-qualification before they can set up RFPs and do engineering, um, feasibility, and what have you. So these things, I saw the plan. That's why I can comment on it. And I commenting from on business perspective. I'm
Yes.
commenting
All
as
right, but Subhan, when I say you saw the plan based on then the current investment and involvement, or you saw the plan I mean with previous involvement and estimation.
there was no previous. The plan
What I'm saying
has
to you, the status
yes,
quo
and then
has changed. It
Gary,
has upgrade. The
I'm
players
answering.
involved, the players
I'm
involved, both on the technical end and the financial end has increased drastically. So we have to back up a little bit and wait and see what information is coming before us, and then and make a comment on that. And some of the information, a lot of the information, will not be public.
no. The plan is not for this type of information, Gary. The plan is how we going to structure a refinery. It has nothing to
Well,
do with
but I
who's going to come
understand
to
what you're
invest,
saying based on
who
your
is not.
experience,
This
based on your knowledge, but you are stating
not
some
not
things
not
that you
not.
don't
not
have information on, and you can't criticize nobody because you don't have the information.
we're
You
not
have to hold up
criticizing.
there.
We're not criticizing anybody, Gary. We're not criticizing anybody. We are saying, hey, this is a
Given
refinery. We're going
yeah,
to start a refinery. These are the
yeah.
things we have to put in place. Now we have Mr. Chevron interested, Mr. Reliance is interested, Mr. Indian Oil. That's separate. That's only the financial side of the operations. There's a technical side, there's a geotechnical side, there's a marketing side.
Okay,
All
and
these things
how do you
inside.
know that the technical side is not involved?
Because there are
Because
questions that have not been answered in the first plan.
but that's previously. You don't know what are the latest developments, so I would say hold up on that until we get further information. Hold up on that statement because we don't know what is in the play right now. You understand what I'm saying to you? Hold up on that conversation right there. All right. Well, I understand your concern. I understand your recommendation based on your expertise, but there's certain a lot of information that is not in the public domain that you don't have, I don't have, and we should not go further with this.
Well, let's leave it
So
like that.
so
Leave
two
it
things
at
then.
that for now,
So man,
and then we will
Yes.
see based on there's certain things you might have to give advice on, and you would not be able to give it publicly also.
right. So two things. So therefore, they are going to start this thing. Number one. Number two, most likely within a year. I think that's what we agree on.
No. I would like to see it start within a year, but
Yeah,
when
I would
I
say
look,
before the end of the year, but you even better than me. So, but
no, it
I
doesn't.
was always too dry. I don't know. I guess let me tell you, the only thing I'm really interested in is that they're really going to start the damn thing and as soon as possible. That's all because I want this to happen because of what is happening internationally, especially
Right. We could
that
melt
I want
at
this thing
least.
to get off the ground or forget it.
We could melt this thing out. definitely milk it.
This thing has all possibility, and it has all the backing to
Yeah.
get it done. So it's just a matter of time. I mean, we will have to replace some machinery, and we're going to upgrade some machinery. We could probably upgrade the capacity of certain things based on the volume that we're doing and the investment we get in. So there's a lot involved, and I would say hold up a little bit and get a better grasp of what we're doing before we say anything further on this.
So, but these guys with the expertise could really get it very quickly because they can't have a map of what going on already. This Chevron and those people already, they're already looking, because they're looking for business all across the world. And I'm sure
Across
this is
the-
one of our top priority they were looking at.
and if you
So
miss this
they
thing, if you
already
miss
know
this
how quick
opportunity,
they
And
get it done. Already,
they won't move forward so readily if they didn't think they can get it done. You understand?
yeah,
But
but
yeah,
it's
so
a
I
good.
mean, I would say hold up, wait and see. And like I said, there's some advice we might have to give the government, but we may not be able to give it publicly.
right.
Correct,
So that's
but
good. That was
So this,
interesting, Gary,
so
because
this is
this
what
is
I'm
a
saying. So
good conversation. This is good. This is good.
yeah, so what I'm saying
yeah,
to you, gentlemen, a
we
lot
will.
of the information, the recommendation will have to be directly private,
Yeah,
Yes,
and
correct.
we may not be able to come publicly with some things. So
No,
let's hold the horses on that, and we go deal with that, at another
yeah.
day.
yeah,
But we were just
yeah,
giving our views on it, Gary. This is
yeah.
not.
That's
Yeah,
it.
but
That's
just
all.
be careful
Yeah,
on those views because you can't be coming across like you're bashing the government, and yet
No,
I
no,
mean
no.
oh, no.
there's
Absolutely.
information
No, I
Yeah,
don't think
that you
so.
don't have access to. Just wait and see, and you'll get a better analysis of what's going on. You'll be able to give some advice to the government privately.
No,
Okay,
no, no. They will have,
privately,
let them
privately.
advise them, man. Let them advisors advise them because they are the ones who are appointed to do this. You know, it's the same thing. We are giving
All
scenarios
right,
which is
all right. So listen, we're gonna close up here for tonight, and then we'll continue this conversation tomorrow night. All right. Ken, you still
yeah.
there?
Yes, I'm right
yes, still
here.
there.
Yes.
Can
Can you there?
I was
Oh,
listening to yes, I'm here.
you'll
I
be
was
quiet
listening
So
to
again?
the
What's up?
I was listening to the conversation. Look, oil is $95 a barrel, and we need to get that refinery up and running as soon as possible.
That's
That's
my
all I'm going to
point.
say. And we have to support the government efforts in whatever way we can get
yes,
it done. And
yes.
look, we need to be optimistic, moving forward, and continue to create win-win stories so that people of Trinidad and Tobago will continue to benefit. And that's what
Nice.
I have to say in closing.
Yeah.
I will be on the ground and we'll be making the rounds to ensure that everything's taken care of and we address certain things. So get set to that. We're going to hit the road running, hit
Yeah,
the ground running.
next week, trying to make some headway into
Yeah,
things. And I share the same opinion like you. Can I wish we can start this thing as soon as possible
no, we
for
listen
the
to me.
yeah,
benefit of the
It
country.
is desperately needed. Okay, but
At this
remember,
time especially.
and remember, our government is putting its best foot forward, and we have we have attracted the best investors together with us. So I have 100% hope on this thing will work quicker and better. And the thing about it is, what we have to work on now is to keep the right government in place so that they don't no other government don't come up and mash up everything with the hard work that we did, right? So I mean,
excellent. Yeah,
we have to keep
That's
government. We have to make sure this government succeed. And like again, Suman, a lot of advice we cannot give it publicly. All right, gentlemen. So
correct.
we'll talk tomorrow night.
All right,
Okay,
yeah.
Ken,
guys,
let
have
me
a good
just say,
night.
Ken.
Go
So,
ahead.
Ken, good night, and don't forget to let those folks know that tonight I was trying to make the point. Always try to divide as you know, divide the investment into short term and long term, medium term kind of thing, so they can know what's on the drawing board next.
Definitely, definitely. Well said.
Yeah.
So we're
So have
gonna
a good time, and we'll talk again.
yeah, we're gonna do some conference call off air, and then we will get more of this information flushed out. All right.
Correct.
Yes.
So
All
good
right,
night,
then. All
Good
guys.
right,
night.
Ken.
Have a
Have
good
a
one.
safe trip.
Thanks a
Take
lot. Have a
Good
good
care.
night.
night. Take care. Sumant, Dr.
Looking
Maraj,
forward.
Gary,
Looking
Good
take
night.
forward.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night, boys. Good night.
Take care. Thanks.
Take
Bye.
care, guys. Nice.
तुमसे यादें तुमसे डरपन तुमसे ही दीवानापन